This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have Lisa Andria joining us, our emotional transformation specialist with Ladies Who Leap. Today, we're going to talk about clearing the clutter within because a lot of us have these emotional blocks that really sabotage purpose, passion, and peace, and sometimes without us even knowing. But Lisa, we are joined by you today. We want to welcome you back. And for those that may not know a little bit about yourself and company, can you please elaborate?
Yes, I'm an emotional transformation specialist because I transform mostly women to help them improve the relationship with themselves. Which, once you do that and you truly love yourself, then that affects all relationships in your life, both professional and personal.
And how long have you been doing this for? Tell us just a little bit of your history.
I've been doing it since 2019. I've really, over the years, perfected with my being a life student with more training and structure in what I do with people. But my intuitive nature is just who I am. I'm curious about people and I just want to help women shine.
Beautiful. And for today, we're going to break some things down. What really is, let's just start off. What is emotional clutter? What does that mean?
Well, I'm going to start with an example, right?
Okay.
All my life, I'm going to talk about myself. All my life, my friends would say, "Oh, Lisa, you have so much confidence. When you start something, you go at it and you do it." What they didn't know that was inside, I was broken in ways that you can't see on the outside. I had been bullied as a child and a young adult in school, and all the love and support from my fantastic mom, it didn't make a difference with the self-doubt and other negative beliefs I believed about myself. So what I was hiding inside is that emotional clutter and baggage that people hide inside themselves. And it affected all aspects of my life. My own inspiration to follow my dreams, my ability to trust my own gut or instinct, having a sense of passion for what I did for work, which then affected my work, right? And allowing
Mm-hmm.
myself to dim my light in relationships. So wasn't getting in the right relationships because I was allowing myself to dim my light and letting the other person shine. Now, with my last year of high school, I actually had found out I had a great ability to speak. So, Jill, I wanted to do what you do, which is journalism and interviewing people. Yeah. So,
Really?
yes, but remember, there was this nerdy girl who had a lot of self-doubt. It was nice to know that I had that ability, and there was some teachers. I even got an award for it because there was a TV class in the high school that I said, I'm going to do this. This is something different and new. Let me try it. And I actually did so well. I did some investigative journalism. They wouldn't necessarily let the show on the air, but it did have an impact on the school itself with what I had uncovered. So that was really nice. And then an English teacher said to me, "You have a real gift for speaking. You could convince anyone of
Oh,
anything."
wow. Yeah. What?
And he said, you might want to be a politician. I said, no, 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 that's okay. I don't want to be a politician, but it's really nice to know that I have that gift. Well, then I signed up to go to college. Our family moved to California. I actually got contacts. I grew my hair. I had dates for the first time.
Oh,
That was nice, but I equated going back to school, even college, as going back to being the picked on nerd. And I didn't
wow.
go. I didn't do it. So that's
Ah,
how powerful those words and those thoughts in your unconscious mind can be to affect your life. It can actually have that much of effect. So since then, I have figured out what it is that I did. I felt that it wasn't my fault, the decision that I made. I forgave myself. And then I went through all of my period of growth to be able to understand what this is and why did that affect me. And it took me 60 years. I
yeah.
went through, the 41 years in the corporate world. It took me a while.
Ah,
But, when you are afraid of, all of this, I understood is events that have happened in your life, whether before, during, or after your birth, and usually before the age of 7, it is all stored in your unconscious mind. And then, just like a computer, when you have something that happens to you, it's like you're doing a search and that file comes up and it affects you and it brings up those limiting beliefs. And so all of your decisions and behaviors, which are automatic in your unconscious mind, you don't even think about it. That's where it's coming from.
Wow. Oh my goodness. And it's so funny because a lot of us, yeah, don't realize this. And this is news. This I'm learning from you too, because there's so many things emotionally I think that we hold back, that we're blocking, that we don't know, right? And we want to get them cleared. We want to live our best life. So, ah, this is
So let me
amazing.
talk about
Now
kind of
let's talk
more,
about what? Yeah,
yeah, what emotional clutter is really when it has to do with your
sure.
unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has this. It's all stored in our unconscious mind, right? 8 billion people across the planet, we all have it. And when we experience an event, and it could be just seemingly something that doesn't even seem to be that big of an event, and also something you don't consciously remember, it is stored in your unconscious mind. And we interpret it in a way like that becomes our reality. It becomes how we make decisions and our behaviors. And the reality that we have is based on the filters from those events. So everyone has a different reality based on what they experienced and what's in their unconscious mind. And it stores, like I said, all of these events. Well, your unconscious mind is built to protect you. It's the part that keeps your heart beating, right? Your blood flowing. It is made to protect you. So it also, when you have these negative thoughts and these events that have happened, it protects you from those, like protects you from emotions like fear, guilt, shame, or anxiety. So instead of being able to get over these life altering events, it's stored in your unconscious mind and it uses them to distort things and to bring up those emotions. And it actually finds a different way for you to see your reality. So it's protecting you by saying, "Oh, I like if you want to keep thinking negatively, I'm going to keep allowing you to think negatively. And negative things are good because I want to prove that you are correct, that what you're thinking and what you're saying is correct. It's protecting you." So all of these emotions that have come from these events, they translate to negative self-talk, shame feeling, ancestral beliefs that have been passed on that you now harbor, people pleasing tendencies, starting to sound familiar, perfectionism,
Oh yeah.
indecision, and a lack of self love. And this leads to picking the wrong people, the wrong job in your life. It can making decisions that are incorrect for you and truly not honoring yourself and respecting yourself. And just like the clutter in your home, when you have that emotional clutter in your brain, you feel overwhelmed, you can feel depressed, lonely, and distracted. And it can show, you can feel yourself showing up as small in relationships, allowing other people to shine because you don't feel you're worthy of that shine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just so sad because it's true. A lot of us
it is
don't.
true. But there's a way to get out of it.
Tell us how.
So when I first meet someone, I ask them a lot of questions, like it's to open them up to express how they're feeling. So I want them to feel comfortable about talking about this because it's in your unconscious mind. And I will tell them up front, I'm talking to your unconscious mind when I ask you these questions. So the very first thought that comes up is what you should say to me. Kind of put your conscious mind a little bit on vacation is a way to think of it. So I asked them, what area of life do you feel has the most struggle? When you think about the future, what emotions come up? How do you treat yourself every day? Do you do self care? Do you devote any time to yourself, to your own needs? And I listen to what they have to say, but I also see how they look while they're saying it, and it tells me a lot. And then through that first meeting, I can basically identify what's blocking them, so I know kind of what path to go on. And usually, I start with personal growth and development, and that is the relationship with yourself, which is my specialty, is improving that. And I remind them also that their representation of their own reality is internal. So all the things that have happened to them are why they're feeling this way. It's not their fault. It has nothing to do. Everybody has this. It's not your fault. You're not at blame for anything that you make decisions on. It's what was inside your own unconscious mind and the events that have happened to you. And some people have had very traumatic events, especially before the age of 7. So those can, PTSD, those things can be stored in your unconscious mind and even in your conscious mind and is difficult to clear. Oop, can't. Can't hear you.
Test
There you
one.
go.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I apologize. It's sticking. I might oh my goodness. Now what was I saying? The benefit of letting go obviously is great. The stuff that can happen, how you can transform in a sense, and the benefits of letting it go and working, with someone like you, Lisa. There's a lot to that. I know we're gonna kind of dive into that in, just a little bit, but just the typically top three. What are they?
The top three emotional blocks that keep women stuck mostly is number one, fear of judgment, right? I've had several clients that place so much of their own view of themselves on other people's opinions. So if you don't get a better job, people will think you're stupid. If you're alone and you leave your husband in a divorce, people will think you're not worthy of being in a relationship, or I'm not as cool looking as some other people, right? All of these are under the category of fear of judgment. But think about this. Who's actually judging you? You cannot know what other people are thinking about you. So that is your own perception of yourself
True.
that's actually creating that fear. Here we go, back to your inner self. And you really think about it for a moment. It's like feeling like other people's opinions of you are less than, making you feel smaller. This is a block that's caused by your own baggage, thinking that you are less than. Comes from yourself. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is a subconscious guilt or shame. And I talked a little bit about how I felt some shame because I didn't go to college. And that was my own shame that I put on myself. So there are many times that you can feel guilt or shame. But all of my clients, a lot of them talk about feeling shame of where they're in life, or what they have or haven't done in life, right? Or guilt for many things they've done or felt that they hurt others. And many people, they feel like, well, who am I to want more?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They think it's selfish to think about themselves. So they feel shame if they think, oh, well, maybe I should think about myself for a minute. No, 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 I feel shame about that. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be caring for other people because they've spent their entire life caring about other people and caring for them and not focusing on themselves or thinking of themselves when they matter. Also, you matter. It's that whole thing, right? Putting your oxygen mask on first. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And why care about others more than you care about yourself, right? You're in this life for only so long, and why should you put your own life in the back burner? So that's the second thing that women do. And I think a lot of it is societal. It really does focus on, it's easier in a way to focus on helping others than helping yourself because that takes some work and some being uncomfortable.
It really does. Ooh, all right. What's next on our list?
Another thing is you do something wrong and you think that's who you are forever and ever, right? It's a distorted identity. So you're attached to it, something of a behavior or an action that you took, and now you've identified that that's who you are. If you lied, maybe a little white lie here or there or something, and now you go, okay, because so I'm a liar. Not necessarily. Like some of us identify as people pleasers, right? When you believe that you are someone that's not likable, so you need to shape shift in order for others to like you. You've got a distorted identity of yourself as being someone that people don't like. So you have to change who you are. So you need to make sure you're thinking you need to make sure or do something so that somebody will like you. That's an indication of not trusting yourself. Why would you not just be yourself and be vulnerable and be authentic if you trusted who you are as a human being and in your soul and you were able to just be yourself? So that's why I believe working on loving yourself and the relationship with yourself and releasing the beliefs that you're not worthy of being loved, it'll remove this tendency of that identity, right? And then perfectionism, right? So this all kind of goes into this distorted identity. You focus on being perfect because you think that is what's going to give you the next job. And you're thinking that if you're 150% great and looking great, especially with women, because a lot of us are in male dominated jobs, right? We think we have to be like 150% great, and that will stop the boss from talking down to us or doing some kind of behavior that we don't like. When in all actuality, you are doing a great job. You don't have to prove yourself, and you just have to release those feelings of thinking of yourself as not being worthy of being treated well, not being worthy of accomplishing what you can accomplish, not being confident about every accomplishment that you've done and you know you have, but not really feeling like that is who you are. And so when you clear that, you're able to confront the boss, the relationship with what it is that you want. And you'll have a clear mind that you can actually articulate and have it be understood. I mean, I can give another example. If you're a caregiver, right? You
Yeah.
think you can't pursue activities outside your home. This is what you feel you're lonely and a martyr, but this is the identity that you've put in your head, and you don't feel that you can do anything different. When in actuality, you can get help. You can actually get help. You can, I mean, when you really think about the reality of it, the pain that you feel and that you're feeling, if you were to have a clear mind and release that distorted identity of yourself, you can understand that getting help and then getting some time for yourself is not hurting who you're caring for. It's
Mm-mm.
actually taking care of you. Going to the gym, taking a walk, whatever it is you need to do, there is help out there. And you just need to seek it out and understand that it's going to help you help the person you're taking care of, right?
Yeah. So true. Oh, self-care. We got to put that oxygen mask on first, and a lot of us tend not to, and you hear it over and over again. And we need this. We need to feel good. And I love this. I know we're going to talk a little about reflecting and those types of things that we could do with visualizations in just a sec. But if you are just tuning in, our emotional transformational specialist joining us here live from Ladies Who Leap. And Lisa, obviously, today we're here talking. I mean, amazing. We're going over clearing out this clutter, this emotional clutter, right? All these blocks. And she's guiding us along this journey today. So let's continue.
So I'm talking about what they are, what they can manifest in, how they can
Hmm.
affect your life. And if you notice, as I spoke through them, they're all projections that you've given to yourself.
Yeah.
This is your own feelings about yourself, and where they come from is this emotional baggage that's been stored in your unconscious mind. And it can be past lives. It can be genealogically passed down through generations. It can even be in the womb. I've had clients when I'm going to talk about how I clear them, things happened in the womb, usually before you're 7 years of age. That's where things are solidified in your unconscious mind. So I am actually a master practitioner in what's called the mental and emotional release breakthrough sessions and hypnotherapy. And this was created and perfected by a Dr. Matt James. It's based on neuro linguistic programming, which is an NLP technique. So what is a breakthrough session? This is what I use to clear this. It's 2 sessions, a little bit longer than usual. It's about 3 to 4 hours each. And the first half is probably the most difficult because it's talking about your life, your childhood, your relationships with your family, other partners. And I help you with the right questions. And am again tapping into your unconscious mind. First thought that comes to mind, I want you to say it when I ask the questions, is the root cause of the belief that was birthed with all another other negative beliefs in the particular area of life. So when I'm talking about personal growth and development, I'm actually asking questions about how you feel about yourself. How do you
Yeah.
perceive yourself? And understanding that the root cause, and again, your unconscious mind knows this answer, you probably don't, but I am asking these questions to pull it out of you and pull it out
Yeah.
of your conscious mind. And it's usually I'm going to give you just some examples to give you an idea. It's things like I don't love myself, things like I'm not worthy, I'm not pretty, those kind of things. I use a lot of my own intuitive skills, my natural curiosity, and then there's some script helping that I've learned in my master practitioner training, some great questions that really open people up. And it's really interesting because the first part takes about 2.5 hours, and every single client, that's a lot of them, every single one has said, wow. When they come to the realization, everything stops.
Yeah.
And usually there's crying, and I tell
Of
them,
course.
you
But
know,
that's,
but they say usually that after all these years of therapy, I've never come to this decision,
ah,
realization. Yeah.
and the weight off their shoulders and how good they're going to feel moving on, moving forward now, right?
That's the first step is
All
figuring
right.
that one thing out. And I don't know if we have to stop for commercial. That's
Nope.
why.
Go for it. Go,
Uh,
go, go. Yeah.
So once you find out that root cause, what is that limiting belief that overshadows everything? Then we have the fun part in the next session of opening up and releasing them. And it's done really easily and effortlessly. You don't have to relive the event. It is what's called a timeline work. So I am opening up your unconscious mind to go through the timeline of your life, and I have them read some things and understand what the process is going to be so they're open to it. And as long as you relax and let your conscious mind take a vacation, it's going to work really, really well. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get them into it. I clear first, I think it's 6 or 7 negative emotions in a very specific order because one opens up the next. Things like fear, shame, guilt, anxiety, common emotions that a lot of us overwhelmed, are a bit more overwhelmed about. Like I had a client, one of the examples for anger, or no, was for sadness, was she would be driving around and an emergency vehicle would come by and she'd pull over and she'd cry. And she thought, oh, I'm just somebody who's has a high emotional state, or I'm, an empath, an emotional empath. After we did the breakthrough session, she realized, oh, when an emergency vehicle went by, she would pull over and she would just feel sad for them. So she didn't have that overwhelming sadness.
Ah.
So I use a specific script, like I said, and during that script, each thing that I remove, I'm telling your unconscious mind to preserve the learnings. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
important, right? So since your unconscious mind has the prime directive to protect you, learning the lessons will allow it to release your original event effortlessly, because what you need to learn from that event, which is really important, is now stored in your unconscious mind, and you can release the negativity and actually replace it with positive memories. You don't need to relive the moment. And to be honest, something, it's so uneventful, but it is what's used to store that particular emotion. And then eventually we get to the actual limiting belief that has been stored in your mind. And the event, like I said, can be before, during, or after your birth. I also, at the end, once everything is released, I'm going to tell you the person before the release and after, they look different, they feel different. I've experienced it myself. When I had the first release, I felt lighter. And I call it, all those things that you've been carrying around are like a bag of rocks. You've been carrying them around your whole life, and each time something triggered it, it was brought back up again.
Mm-hmm.
And it kept putting those negative thoughts in your mind. So you kept thinking, I'm not worthy. I don't love myself. So why would anybody else love me? Why would anybody listen to me if I don't have anything important to say? I'm not smart enough to do this job. So even though I've made all these strides and I'm at a VP or president level, I'm still not worthy of it. So there are going to be relationships that will be affected, and your work will be affected, right?
For sure. All
At,
right. Well, go ahead.
at the end, I lock everything in. I look into the future. I also do some hypnosis, so we work on suggestions together. I put you through a guided forgiveness meditation. It's been created by the Hawaiians. It's called Ho'oponopono. It's a wonderful guided meditation for forgiveness of everybody that came up during this breakthrough session. And then the hypnosis is customized between myself and the client. And I'm doing that. So when you wake up, you're going to feel, and it's the exact opposite of all the negative things that have happened, so that you can keep this breakthrough, this release for many, many, many years to come. Just to give you an idea of how powerful it is, I had a woman client who had migraine headaches since she was 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and they carried with her into her 50s. Now they have
Ah,
affected everything in her life, including her work. It made it really difficult. She had to take a lot of sick days. I mean, it's very difficult to move up
yeah.
or new projects, to be considered someone that somebody wanted to promote simply because of those headaches. And she had done everything. And the first conversation I had with her, I realized, oh my gosh, there's something more going on here. I think that I can help her. And sure enough, I put her through the breakthrough session. And this was sometime last year. They've never come back. In fact, I just met with her recently and she had some other issues. So I used another NLP technique on her for that. And she said work was going great. She's actually on a new project. She had a little bit of
Wow.
She had a little bit of self-doubt on the project, so that's what I helped her with. But she didn't have the headaches and she was progressing through life and really making sure that she can keep her job, right? We're talking about even money. This is money that she may have been either laid off or fired because of all the issues that she was having on a physical basis, but because it was gone, she was able to go through life and be more successful. So that's just a little taste. Dr. Matt James he has been able to clear PTSD for people that have gone and were in the military,
Yeah.
all kinds of things that you can clear because the unconscious mind is so strong in how it affects and controls the body, and the mind and body connection is so strong. So I'm not saying necessarily that, emotional blocks cannot have breakthrough without using this method, but it works. Other methods usually work on the conscious level. And so you know that it takes at least 21 days to break a habit. And you can have something that you've tried to change after 20 years of therapy, and I can release it in 20 minutes. So it's something to think about, that this is being done on an unconscious level. It's being done where most of your thoughts and all of, especially your limiting beliefs and your inner thoughts that come into your brain without you even thinking about it. Sometimes you know because you feel it, but a lot of times you don't even know this is happening. And being able to clear that again within 20 minutes for one of those limiting beliefs rather than 20 years is huge. So this particular breakthrough session reminds us
Yeah.
that, our own internal representation of life is governed by our own memories and experiences. Something happens and it stores in our mind. And you change those experiences to be lessons, and then you release those negative emotions, and you've rewritten the future. You've rewritten your past, which then rewrites your potential for your future. And that's huge. I mean, even if you had a very difficult childhood and you release that event that even led to possibly your terrible childhood, could have
Mm-hmm.
precluded it. The terrible childhood could have been simply a subsequent event. There could be really an event that started the whole thing a long time before that. And
Yeah.
so your unconscious mind had stored it and said, "Oh, she feels this way about not being treated well. She's going to keep getting that type of treatment from people because that's what she believes. That's her belief. That keeps coming up, keeps coming up." And it's interesting because when you release these negative memories in your brain,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you walk around and you go, "Gosh,
Ah,
there are great memories in my childhood." You actually remember the positive things that happened in your childhood. It clears you up to
that is
remember
awesome.
those. Yeah, it's like rewriting your past, rewriting your story about your life.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for today. Unfortunately, we got to wrap it up. How did you want to kind of end off for today?
Well, I'm going to say it's not magic. There's a
Uh-huh.
whole bunch of other steps that I do with clients to make sure you keep it going, like goal setting, action steps, setting boundaries, manifesting, all kinds of fun stuff. And I'll do that on another one of our podcasts and talk about what work you have to do once everything's released. What do you do from there?
Got it. Perfect. And how can we reach out to you and contact you directly?
The easiest way is ladieswholeap.com. And there are buttons all over there in order to get set up a meeting with me, a Let's Connect meeting, and let's talk. I'd love to hear how I can help you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and hopefully we'll connect again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Bye,
right.
Jen.
Enjoy. Thanks again. Bye bye, everyone.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.